I'm here today to talk about our online editing course based on our book on editing, and that's by myself, Helen Corner-Bryant, and also my co-writer, Catherine Price, who is here with me today and is also our tutor for our main tutor for the course. Catherine, hi.
Hi, Helen. Nice to see you. I'm Catherine Price. I've been working with Helen and Cornerstones in various different forms for, well, I don't know, 15 years now. Absolutely, yeah. Ages.
And some.
I joined Cornerstones as an editor. I ended up being co-partner. And then I co-wrote the book on editing with Helen. We wrote the book because we kind of wanted to distill everything that we've been teaching over so many years into a digestible format that we could sort of let authors in on the secrets that we've been teaching. And after publishing the book, we realized that there was a chance to share that information with authors in a different way. And that's how the course came about.
Over the years, we have heard many, many times from authors, I finished writing my novel and now I want to get published. And then we have to very carefully untangle that and fill in the gap bit, which is self-editing. So if you're serious about getting published, you need to know how to self-edit your novel. And self-editing can be taught. So that's the joy of it. Obviously, you're a naturally gifted writer, having completed your novel. And then self-editing skills, it's really sort of tips and know-how and technique, isn't it, Catherine? So by understanding in a really calm and confident way how to unpick your novel and put it back together again is fundamental. It's also essential in that you'll be talking to an agent and your editor, and you need to speak their language. So a little bit of knowledge goes a long way.
Yeah, it's about not being afraid when you get into the professional arena. And if somebody says to you, oh, you know, I really love your opening and I think your conclusion is brilliant, but this midsection is a bit saggy. And ideally, you need to be able to know what to do with that rather than to go, ah, and for that to seem like a sort of daunting, terrifying prospect. So yeah, it's about giving you the tools, but also the kind of the dialogue and the framework to be able to respond when somebody says something like that, and respond kind of positively and proactively. What we've tried to do is set up the editing process in a really, really logical way, because I think when authors think about editing their book, you know, it might be 150,000 words sometimes, and it can feel hugely daunting. So what we've done is broken the process down into manageable chunks. We start off with the real fundamentals like plotting and character and structure. We look at how everything's hanging together. And then we move on in a kind of sequence way to deal with things like dialogue and description, scene structure, pacing, overwriting. And what we've really tried to do is ensure that each module follows on from the next in a really logical way, so that each step builds on the next, and it becomes almost like an organic process rather than trying to cover everything at once, which can feel really overwhelming when you're just learning to edit. So we have on every course such a huge spectrum of authors, and from all around the world actually. So we have authors who've been writing for years, we have authors who have sort of just started out but know they need to take things a bit further. On the course that I'm running at the moment, we have romantic comedy, we have children's, we have fantasy, we have historical, we have memoir, and none of these authors ever seem to feel out on a limb because they all contribute to one another's work and they've all got something to bring to the table. So I think whatever stage you're at, you'll get something from it. And one of the nicest things is how nurturing that, well, everyone really is. So we have authors who have been writing and self-editing for years, and they are so good at bringing in less experienced authors into the discussion and helping them bounce ideas around and kind of making them challenge themselves and taking their work in different directions that they might not have thought of before. So the spectrum of authors we have, I really think, is part of the reason why the course works so well.
Yeah, it's also really intimate in that we don't take more than 15 authors per course. And as we have always known, Catherine, when you're looking at someone else's work and giving feedback, it's far easier to spot where things are falling down and how to strengthen it. So peer-to-peer assessing of each other's work is really important. Authors may worry a bit that, gosh, they barely have time to write their own novel, let alone edit it, let alone looking at someone else's sort of passages. But actually, you'll find that you'll speed everything up by being more confident and knowing how to give feedback and accept it and turn it around.
Seeing how the confidence develops over the course is really, really interesting. You get authors who are a little bit nervous about posting their first piece up, and by the end of the course, they're diving into their own work, they're critiquing other people's work, and it's learning how to both give and receive criticism is just such a huge part of development as an author, I think, because it's about learning that it's not, it's not personal, it's about making your story the best it can be. And when you see the results of that, it just becomes, automatic. It's something that you want to do. It's nothing to be afraid of. You might be wondering if the course is right for you. And I think it does sort of depend on where you're at with your writing. You need to have got to a stage where you're beyond creative writing, and you've submitted a few times and you've had some responses and you don't know what to make of them. But either way, you're at a stage where you want to take your writing further. So you might be on the verge of submitting maybe, and you want to check that you've got a good enough package. So what you end up with at the end of the course is your synopsis and your first 10,000 words and a submission letter. So the course is really good for honing that material. You might already have an agent, but you might find that you don't entirely know what you're talking about when it comes to self-editing. So you feel that you need to be a bit more confident with your interactions with your agent or maybe your editor. Or you might never have submitted at all, and you might just feel like you want to take your writing a bit further. And any of those are fine. We have authors from pretty much every level on the course. We have a couple of absolute beginners, although they tend to be slightly fewer and far between, because you need to be at the stage where creative writing isn't quite enough.
And I would say if you're serious about writing and being published, you need to take this course. And if you would like access to the next level, which is an agent or publisher, you need to take this course.